maybe you've been smelling something a little unusual. It could be mold. And Brad, I'm going to bring you in on this. Let's start with identifying what mold and what it smells like, but even though there are different types of smells. Brad?
All right. So I got to be honest with you. I rarely ever smell mold. I just don't. I mean, we do about 200 mold investigations a year at Home Team, and it's not common for me to walk in and smell anything. Now, I'm just not wired that way. Some of my other team members are. I talk to a lot of homeowners that can smell that mold. So it's not always a smell that you pick up. Sometimes, you'll identify it by maybe a tingling feeling in your nose or the back of your palate. Sometimes it hits you there. So if you have mold in the house, you're not necessarily going to smell it. Sometimes those musty smells that you pick up, sometimes just old textiles, old leather, people get kind of confused by that. But I think that where you're going with this, Bob, is that those molds that are in our house, and we were talking, before the show began, a lot of these ice dams that are building up in people's homes are now suddenly creating a lot of wet areas in their house, which very well may cause mold to start growing, because once mold gets, you can't really do anything about the spores that are already in the house. You can't do anything about the surfaces that the mold lives on. But as long as they stay dry, the mold won't grow. Once they're activated by water and a lot of this moisture that's coming in because of these ice dams, that's going to trigger a lot of mold growing throughout areas that people are not typically seeing them in their homes.
So we should also point out there are different types of mold.
Yes.
Some can cause allergies or react to your allergies. Some affect those with a chronic condition or weakened immune system. And then there are some that are toxic to all of us, regardless of our health issues.
Yeah, and I think the toxic, and I want to be careful about using terms like deadly and toxic, because a lot of those reactions that people have, everyone responds to mold in a unique way. So, if you're allergic to it, even a small amount of like alternaria can set you into a severe, asthmatic kind of reaction. There are people that have built up mold sensitivities and mold toxicities to the different environments they've lived in, and even a small amount of the toxin will set them off. You and I, Cora, we may have, good immune systems, and those toxins aren't going to affect us at all. Just like when we're walking around outside and we're hit with a pollen or another mold spore out there, that it doesn't trigger anything. But some people are triggered, and it hits their respiratory, and it hits their immune systems very heavily. But everyone is unique in the way that mold affects them. So even though it's a quote unquote toxic mold, the black mold, the Stachybotrys, some people, it doesn't really even bother them. But it's not something you want to live with either.
Right. So you want to take action to remediate it. And if you want, give me a call up. We've got people who we can send you to talk about it. But just in case you're wondering, a mold can be musty, stale, damp scent, even though Brad can't smell it. I can. That's an early stage of mold. Or black mold, earthy, rotting leaves smell. That could be possible. And other molds can range from a smell of decaying meat to sweaty socks. They vary by types, growth, and conditions. So those are some of the things that we've talked about and have seen with mold, and there's nothing to fool around with. If you need somebody to help you, give me a call. We'll get you some information and more people to talk to at 376-5483.